Hello everyone, I'm Antoinette Lafachet, and today I am coming to you to make a live soda. So what that means is fermented sodas. And the whole point of doing this is because right now immunity is important when we got all this crazy stuff going on out there. We want to make sure that we're healthy, our children are healthy, and right now we've been using this as a replacement for our children so they drink less soda that's not helping them and something that's going to boost up their immunity. So first thing we're going to start with that I want you guys to know is I'm not adding any extra live cultures or anything like that into this or any yeast packets. What we're going to use is pineapple islet skin. These little islets on here, they still have the yeast in there, and once you put all of those things in there and you put your water in, all that good stuff, then it's going to start the fermentation process. And fermented fruit is a whole lot healthier than regular fruit because it's going to increase the opportunity for you to absorb other nutrients that you're taking in from this and anything else you might be taking, like people that take let's see, iron or potassium or things like that. And sometimes based on what kind of medication we might be on, or just maybe not getting enough nutrients in our diet in the first place, we're not absorbing a lot that goes in. So fermented fruit help that process. So basically what I'm going to start with here is the pineapple, my pineapple, and let's see here. So this here is the pineapple I'm going to put in there. This here is just a few pieces from the inside of the pineapple. This here is more for flavor. You're going to get flavor from the outsides as well, of course, because there's still pineapple on there, but it's really important. And pineapple has a high source of vitamin C, and I think it's a magnesium goes in there as well. So I'm putting all my pineapple and all my pineapple skin in there. I also have mango. I have a few mango pieces. Just gonna put those in there and dump all that stuff. Alright, that's it. Okay, the other thing I'm gonna put in there is starfruit. Starfruit is good for boosting immunity. It's also good for skin. I have kiwi as well. Kiwi is good for your skin, great antioxidants, all that good stuff in there. And one of the super herbs, ginger. Now I just cut it up in a few pieces. As far as measurements, I'm not going by what measurements, this and that, because the whole point is you want to keep this as simple as possible. If you have to basically be a chemist to put this together, it's like some people are just like, what's the point if it's going to be so much? What you put in here is basically what you like. And okay, what you put in here is basically what you like. And the things that I picked are things that are high in vitamin C, things that are going to boost immunity, and things that are going to taste good as an end result. Because these fermented fruit in here, everything kicks up a whole lot stronger. So like, let's say if I put way too much ginger, I'm definitely gonna taste it. You might think it's just a little bit, but fermentation is going to extract all the good stuff and get it going in there. So basically you put in it what you like, but if you're going for increasing your immunity in a time where increasing your immunity is definitely important, then you want to do a little bit of research on what's going to help you the most. And right here I have a few apples. It's a Honeycrisp apple. It's frozen because I've been doing this a lot lately now. And all my leftover fruit, I just freeze it for a later date. So when you're making fruit cocktails, or you're making like little fruit platters or something, and you don't use all that fruit, instead of throwing it away, freeze it. Because something about it, I don't know what it is, but I've noticed that every time I freeze a fruit and I put it in this, it seems to go a whole lot faster. Maybe it breaks down the enzymes from the freezing. I don't know, but it works. Right here, this here is a few of the peels from a lemon. Now, the reason why I'm not putting a whole lemon in here is because the white part of the lemon is really bitter, and I don't want that flavor in here, but I do want the nutrients. So, put a few of those in here as well. Actually, I'm going to put all of those in there. I like lemon, so that's what I'm doing. That's how I'm going to do it. This is my lemon juice right here. You can see some of the seeds in there. I don't care about those seeds in there because at the end I'm going to strain all of this. So make this easy as possible for you. I'm just going to pour all of that in there right there. And the next process is the water. So right here, you can't really see, I have to move it into sight for you. I have some Ozarka spring water. You do not want to use the water from your faucet. The reason why is because it has fluoride in it, and God knows what else they put in there, and sometimes that can really stop your fermentation process and it'll just rot. You don't want rot. You want it to absorb the nutrients. You want it to taste good. You want it to create CO2 and get you a good bubbly going on. You don't want it to rot on you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this up with water. Okay, so I have about this much water in here. It's not important how much it is, because the point is I'm going to have to fill this jar up mostly to the top anyway. So the first thing I'm going to put in there is honey. The reason I'm putting honey is because honey is good for you. I mean, it's a better sugar substitute for people with diabetes. And if you get local honey, it's going to help you with your antihistamine levels and things like that, so you're less likely to get a respiratory infection or something that affects your respiratory your respiratory system, like, you know, what's going on out here right now today. So I'm going to put some of this in here. Just like I said, measurements are not important, but what is important is you do want this to be sweet, because that is what the yeast is going to have to eat from to ferment and get your whole bubbly going here and all your minerals going. So I'm just going to mix the honey into the water here. And usually I use about a cup, even though it's not important really. You have to think about what you want. If you don't put, like, let's say in this, I only put like a half a cup of sugar. The problem I may run into with as much fruit and things that are in here is the yeast is going to rapidly eat all of that up. And it's still going to be healthy. It's still going to be good. It's probably going to be quite tangy. That is a definite. But if there's no more sugar in there, you're going to get a different flavor. Now, some people might like that. Some people might want it to turn to vinegar on them, because that's what will happen if you leave all of this going on too long. But that's not a bad thing either, because just like apple cider vinegar still has all of its good nutrients in it, it would be the same with this. You could, if it turns into vinegar on you, or you screw this up, laugh at yourself a little bit. Don't worry about it. And if you're one of those people that you like to dip vinegar and olive oil with a little bit of French bread like I do, then you just invented a whole new situation for yourself, and you're going to be happy either way. So, whatever. So, I'm going to put about a cup of sugar in this. Also, keep in mind, I also added some honey. I don't know how much honey I added. You add what's going to work for you, and make sure it's enough to feed your yeast. So I'm just going to mix this up here until it's all incorporated in the water. kind of hear that going there. So far, I think this might have been my, I don't know, maybe fourth or fifth one of these I've made so far. My children, they love it. That's my husband sneezing in my video while he's playing the video game. Ignore him. This is my life. But anyway, so I'm just going to pour this in here. And as you can see, we need more water. So, I'm going to get a little bit more water. I'll put a little bit more honey instead of just adding more sugar. Mix that into the water. That's just basically so it doesn't all scoop down to the bottom and stay down there. You want to make sure your yeast does not have any problems getting going. Okay, so I'm going to pour more in there. Okay, so as you can see here, let me move a little close to you. I still have some airspace in there. You want to make sure you keep some airspace. But what you don't want to happen is all the fruit in the top here, you want all of that fruit submerged under the water level, because if it's sticking out, what's going to happen is you're going to get mold, and mold is not what you want. Mold is not good. If this starts fermenting and you start seeing it changing colors, you see black spots, pink spots, anything but a white foam, or if you're using a fruit, sometimes like if you use cherries, for example, you might get like a pink foam. But if it's something that's completely discolored to this and it starts growing on the top, you screwed up, but who cares? Who cares? It's gonna be all right. You go on with your life. Some people just pick out the piece that went bad and they just keep going. But if you keep everything submerged under the water, you won't have that problem. And what I do for that is I take a plastic bag, I put it on the inside there. And I put water inside that bag to make sure that my fruit are still submerged. And they're under there, none of it is peeking out, and then I can close the bag. Now, it's important that you use the same type of water that you used inside of this in this bag, just in case this bag gets punctured for some kind of reason, or if the seal isn't closed really good on it. You want to make sure if those waters mix, it's not a water mixing in there that has fluoride and lead and all kinds of nasty stuff in there. That completely defeats the purpose of what you're trying to do in the first place. And actually, I think I could put a little bit more water in there. Yeah, that's a good spot. And you just close the bag up. Or some people, especially people that do canning and pickling and things like that, you can buy those weights that you put in there to keep all of that submerged. And I'm just going to put this top on it. This top is not a sealed top. It's not something that's going to trap everything in there, because you're going to need a bit of oxygen for your yeast CO2 to start breathing as it comes up. So I'm just going to sit that on top of there. That means it still has enough breathing room. There's still enough space in there. All of my fruit are submerged. And I'm just going to leave this in a dark place You're going to want to keep the temperature between 65 to about, I say maybe like 72 degrees. Now in the summertime, or if you're cooking, sometimes you can rapidly process these unintentionally. I put them in my kitchen on top of my cabinets, and of course heat's gonna rise, and if it gets too hot in there, sometimes things can go way too fast and you can get a rot situation that way. So try and pay attention to the temperature that's going on in there. Also, when it starts making bubbles, you want to watch that. You also want to watch and you want to make sure it's not going to be bubbling out of there. So basically, I'm just going to leave this for about maybe 2-3 days. I say 2-3 days because the temperature change can sometimes make things go a whole lot faster. It does not mean that you're going to lose your whole process. So don't get scared and be like, oh my goodness, my temperature went to 75 and now it's ruined. No, it's not ruined. It's just that you just got to check it every now and again. Within those days, sometimes you can take it down from wherever you put it. If you want things to start moving faster and you've noticed you're not getting any CO2, nothing is happening there, you just take a spoon or something, just chop in there a little bit and get those fruit aerated and get them going a little bit. So I got this all ready. We're gonna wait and then I'll be back. All right? Okay, so as you can see, it's not in my big pretty one that I had because unfortunately my son broke it. But I have accepted and released that already. So let's talk about the process. What's going on in here? So this is day 3. And as you can see in there, it's bubbling on both of them. And that means that it's time for bottling. Now, if for some reason you have gotten to day 3 and you notice that you're not getting as much bubbling, what some people do is you just open your containers and you just mash it up a bit in there, get some air working down in it to get it moving faster. But now we're going to go ahead and go on to the bottling process. Put them in a room temperature, dark place for about, I'm going to check them. You can go up to 2 days, but what I like to do is I do 1 day out in regular temperature, somewhere between 65 and 75 degrees, and then I do 1 day in the fridge. And that's pretty much it. With the bottling process and the refrigeration process. And here's my bottle here. One of my bottles already got everywhere, so if you don't see the rest of them, that's why you don't see them here. So to be safe, I'm going to show you guys how to open this. I'm going to put this in here and like that. Okay, so let's see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my hand on the top, and you can hear that. Do you think I'm gonna be able to open it? Yeah, my son went in the fridge and did this to the bottles that were not ready to be opened, and he opened it and it was a champagne shower everywhere. So if you don't want to do that, be patient letting the CO2 out of the bottle. Be very patient, or it will all come out and leave you with like a little splash at the bottom. Like seriously. Do it again, and this time I'm keeping my hand on it just to let more air come out. "15 minutes later," when I say go slow, I mean go slow. Do not be anxious. Do not be super thirsty. Just hold up, okay? Patience is a virtue. So, my husband came back here. We had a whole bunch of little foam going. It didn't overflow or anything like that. So, we're about there now. All right. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of head on that right there. And it's highly carbonated. And it's really good. It kind of tastes like a tropical wine cooler. And just like I had mentioned before, sometimes people use their leftover fruit if their fruit is still mostly fresh from the first batch and the second. And that's what I did here. It's only been in there for about, I'd say, how long, a day?
2.
Okay, yeah, so this has only been in here for 2 days and it's already ready. So I'll be rebottling this in my other bottles. Reach the end of this process. We have a good vitamin C filled immune boosting live soda, I guess you can call it, or fermented soda if you're looking for any kind of information online about this. If there's other fruits that you like, maybe you just want to do this for flavor, try something. Don't think too hard about it. If it goes bad, you get you a little bit of vinegar and everything's fine. But I hope you guys liked my video, and make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. If you have any questions about this process, feel free to ask and I will definitely get back to the comments. Bye bye, you guys.